I don't want to live my life with regrets, because if I live my life with regrets, oh my God, I got one after another after another. Good morning from Oakland, California. I'm at the corner of College and Claremont, the border between Berkeley and Oakland, and I'm gonna head back to where I used to live today to see the old apartment. Gertrude Stein once wrote, "There's no there there." And she was talking about the time when she went back to her old Oakland neighborhood. This was, nearly 100 years ago. And she found that she didn't recognize anything. Her neighborhood looked totally different. Her house was no longer there. There's no there there. In turn, that famous quote by Stein was the inspiration for the book There, There by Tommy Orange. There, There is a brilliant novel, a devastatingly brilliant novel, 2018, written by a Native American chronicling the plight, the situation of modern day Native Americans growing up in urban Oakland. I really can't recommend that novel enough, but for the purposes of this video, let me just say that There, There is a take on There's No There There, talking about the plight of the Native Americans in today's Oakland and kind of laying down a foundation that this is still their land. My suggestion, go read the book. You won't be disappointed. But for today, I'm talking about my There's No There There anymore. My There There. I'm going to one of the places I used to live. One of my favorite apartments. I lived here in the Rock Ridge section of Oakland for 7 years. This was from 1997 to 2004. I came here in 1997 as an NBA beat writer to cover the Warriors. This was back in the days when the economy here in San Francisco was rip-roaringly strong. Rip-roaringly strong. How about that? Rip-roaringly strong. And when I was looking for an apartment, oh my God, it didn't look good. It didn't look good at all. I mean, you talk about today when there's people buying houses and bidding each other up. Sure, that was a thing a few years ago, but for here, oh my God. Behind me is the house that I lived in. And when I first looked for this apartment, there were like 50 people sitting on the steps, milling around, filling out applications by paper back in those days. Literally 50 people. The house, this old house on the corner, it was subdivided. It was split into 5 small apartments, 4 one-bedroom apartments and 1 studio. And they were renovating the house bit by bit. And at this juncture, there were 2 apartments recently renovated and available, a studio and a 1-bedroom. And I don't know how, but I scored one of these apartments, the upstairs one with the balcony. I think it's the best one in the place. If I had to guess, I was one person, probably seemed very quiet. I had a stable work history. I guess no dings on my credit. So yeah, I snared that apartment, and it was wonderful. Rock Ridge really is a sweet little neighborhood. It's just 1 block from the BART station. That's our Bay Area Rapid Transit, our public transportation train into the city. And the street I walked down before was College Ave, which is filled with restaurants and coffee houses and even a wonderful bookstore. Yeah, so it's a very coveted neighborhood. And my place, well, at that time it was $11.25 a month. And I'll tell you something really funny. So I was there about, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. when my landlord, it was this old couple that had retired to the foothills in California, and they wrote me a letter saying that you've been such a good tenant, but circumstances are changing, and because of the economic climate, we're going to have to raise your rent. And I'm going, yeah, okay, but $11.25 for this place was a good deal. And he said, so we are going to raise it $25 a month. Nothing. I laughed reading the letter. It was so sweet, so wonderful. And I had great times there. Had my 40th birthday party there. Hosted book club dinner meetings. And in one very surreal situation, I even got to couch surf in my own apartment. In 2002, I quit my job and backpacked for about 6 months. Came back to this place. And I stayed here for about another year before I, eventually went off to China to teach English. And when I did go off to China that first year to teach English, I had no expectation of spending most of my time there in the next 20 years, but I subletted my apartment. So I subletted my apartment to a couple of grad students up at Berkeley. Berkeley is only about a mile right up the road in the direction I'm walking now. And when I came back, when I was talking to them about getting back in the apartment, they had mentioned that they're going to be out of town. And I said, do you mind if I stay in my apartment? They said, yeah, sure. And in a very surreal experience, I think I spent 2 nights in my own apartment, sleeping on the sofa, looking at how they'd rearranged or covered up the furniture with plastic. Yeah, it was pretty wild. And as it happened, I never did make it back into that apartment again. In those couple weeks before my subletter's lease expired, I really got the hankering to go back to China. China had been a great experience, and suddenly I was back here in my favorite neighborhood, a great apartment, and I felt there's no there. The neighborhood hadn't changed, but apparently I had. It's a little hard to explain, but I think anybody who has lived abroad, who has had experiences that were completely new and different to them, will understand. I think it happens to a lot of us who get out of our comfort zone and suddenly find they like the uncomfort zone. They like the new experiences every day. And in this case, I was in China at a time, nearly 20 years ago, when things were changing so fast. If I'd have gone to China at a different time, I might have had a different experience. But at that time, to watch the society just explode economically, and the opportunities, and to see kind of history unfolding before my eyes, when I look back, that's one of the greatest things that I'll take from my China experience. And at the same time, can't help but wonder what would have been, right? I don't want to live my life with regrets, because if I live my life with regrets, oh my God, I've got one after another after another. Let's take this apartment, the one I've been showing you. If I'd have stayed there, wonderful apartment, wonderful neighborhood, coveted neighborhood, rent controlled. I told you the story about my landlord raising the rent. Well, even if he was an asshole, he could have only raised the rent, I really don't remember, 3%, something like that, in Oakland. So I was in a sweet spot. And I've got friends in this San Francisco Bay Area who have been living in the same rent-controlled apartment for years and years, paying, one tiny fraction of today's, market. And I could have been one of those lucky guys. I was one of those lucky guys. But I made a different choice. As a caveat, and not a small one, if I hadn't gone to China, I never would have met Summer, and my life would have been altogether poorer, because that was the best thing that's ever happened to me. Isn't it ironic, don't you think? I mean, so ironic, I really do think. And I guess that's where I'm gonna end this video. Walking around my old Rock Ridge, Oakland neighborhood, thinking about what might have been, and really happy the way things turned out. Oh, I really can't end this video without showing you this sign of this liquor store right across the street from my old house. Eddie's Video Liquor ATM. I always thought, that's basically all the major food groups, right? And with that, now I'm gonna end my video. Really wanna thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. If you like this video, please press the like button. Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And finally, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, subscribe. All right, catch you next time.